The alien Academy ship Virith floated in the dark between the stars, a great silver city in the void, filled with students from 100 worlds, each one with bright eyes and nervous hearts as they waited inside the huge training hall, the walls humming with strange energy. Today was the fear trial, a day every student spoke about in whispers, a test where you must face the thing that lives deepest inside your mind, the thing you fear more than anything else. The teacher stood in the center, tall and thin, his skin like polished glass, his voice sharp like a blade as he spoke to the crowd. The cage behind him shimmered with blue light, its curved walls glowing, the ground inside marked with deep claw scratches from past trials. The teacher's voice carried across the hall, each word heavy. Today you will meet the fear beast. It is not one creature. It is every creature. It will look into your mind, and it will become the thing you dread most. It does not forget. It does not stop. It will test you until you break or until you stand without fear. The air grew heavy. Students shifted on their feet. Some clutched their weapons tight. Some wrapped their tails or arms around themselves for comfort. One alien with bright red skin muttered a prayer under his breath. Another with 4 eyes kept blinking fast, as if trying to stay awake. Humans were rare here. There was only one in this class. His name was Eli. He stood near the back, his hands in his pockets, his face calm. The others often whispered about him. Some said humans were soft. Others said they were strange because they smiled too much and slept too little. Eli just listened and never argued, his dark eyes steady as he watched the cage. The first student stepped forward, a tall insect-like being with blades for arms. The cage door slid open with a hiss. The blue light faded for a moment and a shape moved inside. A shadow twisted and grew until a giant bird with burning eyes appeared. Its scream cut through the hall like fire. The student fought hard, his blades clashing against the beast's talons. Sparks flew. But in the end he staggered out, shaking, his armor torn. The teacher nodded. Another passed the trial. One by one the students entered the cage. Each time the beast changed. Once it became a swarm of black worms that swallowed the floor. Another time it was a huge serpent with metal fangs. Once it was a mirror copy of the student themselves, moving faster and stronger. Every time the fight left the student pale and trembling. Eli waited as the line grew shorter, the air thick with fear, his heart steady, his breath slow. The teacher finally called his name. Human, step forward. Try not to faint. The words carried a hint of mockery. Some students snickered. A few shook their heads, as if already certain of the outcome. Eli walked to the cage door. The hum of the blue light made the air buzz against his skin. The door slid open. Shadows curled inside. Something heavy shifted on the floor. A low growl rolled out. The shape began to form, taller than any student, darker than the shadows. The crowd leaned forward, waiting to see claws, teeth, maybe fire. But the thing stepped into the light and stopped. Its golden eyes locked on Eli. The growl faded. The beast lowered its massive head slowly, as if bowing. The air in the hall went silent. Even the hum of the cage seemed to fade. The beast's great body sank down until it lay flat, tail curling around its legs, its eyes half closed. A deep rumble, like a purr, rose from its chest. Gasps filled the hall. The teacher's mouth opened, but no words came. The alien monitors at the side looked at their screens, their faces confused. The readings showed no rage, no attack, only calm. The beast was at peace, something no one had seen before. Eli stood there, still, looking at the beast, no fear in his eyes. His voice quiet as he said, "I think it wants to rest." The beast blinked slow, its head sliding forward until it rested near his boots. The great golden eyes closing fully as it breathed deep and steady. Around the hall the whispers began. How is this possible? Is the human using some kind of device? Is this a trick? Maybe the beast is broken. The teacher took a step forward, but the beast's ear twitched, and a low warning sound made him stop, his skin flashing faint blue in shock. In the back row a tall reptilian student muttered, "No beast bows to anyone, not ever." Another student with silver fur whispered, "Unless it found something it could not beat." Their words carried through the still air like small sparks ready to catch fire. Eli looked down at the beast, one hand brushing its warm fur. The cage light shimmered again. The door closed slowly around them. The trial was still running, but no attack came, only the sound of the beast sleeping. Somewhere deep inside its mind, the beast had seen something in the human's thoughts, something that made it choose not to fight, something that made it bow. And nobody in the hall knew if they should be relieved or afraid. The cage lights dimmed again, the hum fading into silence. The beast still lay curled at Eli's feet, its golden eyes half closed, the great chest rising and falling like a mountain breathing. The teacher stood frozen. The alien monitors glanced at each other, their hands twitching over their control panels, unsure if they should end the trial or let it continue. The other students stared with wide eyes and tight grips on their weapons. At last the teacher signaled for the cage to open. The blue shimmer faded. The air shimmered like heat. Eli stepped forward. The beast followed, slow and heavy, its paws leaving deep impressions on the polished floor. It ignored everyone else, its gaze fixed only on the human. The crowd shifted back as the pair passed. No one wanted to be close to the creature that could become any nightmare. As soon as Eli left the training hall, the noise began, voices overlapping in 100 languages, clicks, hisses, growls, and whispers. Some sounded fearful, some angry, some excited. The insect-like Kather spoke loud enough for others to hear. This is wrong. The beast never bows, not even to the best fighters. It only bows to its own kind. The four-eyed Riss tilted his head, his pupils narrowing. No, it bows when it cannot win, and nothing should be stronger than your own fear. Yet here we are. Eli kept walking down the long metal corridor, the walls lined with glowing script in alien letters, his steps slow but steady. The beast padded silently behind him like a shadow that breathed. The other students trailed at a distance, watching every move, no one daring to come close until the teacher ordered the beast taken back to its cage. Security drones floated forward, their silver shells gleaming, small weapons mounted on their sides. They formed a half-circle around the beast and Eli. A calm female voice from one of the drones asked the human to step away. The beast's ears twitched. A low growl rolled out. The drones hesitated. They were programmed to fight, but even machines could recognize danger beyond calculation. The teacher ordered them to stand down. The beast walked back to the cage without being forced, but not before it turned its head to look at Eli one more time, the golden eyes holding a strange light, almost like recognition. The rest of the class was dismissed, but the whispers did not stop. In the mess hall later that day, every table seemed to be talking about the human and the beast. Some said Eli had a hidden weapon, maybe a chemical scent, maybe a sound only the beast could hear. Others claimed humans were secret predators that even the galaxy feared. The reptilian Varn hissed that maybe Earth was banned from trials like this for a reason the Academy ignored until now. Eli sat at the far end of the room, eating quietly. The food here was strange to him, but he did not complain. His mind was far away. He could still feel the warmth of the beast's breath, still remember how it looked into his eyes, and seemed to see something no one else could. Two shadows fell over his table. Kather and Riss stood there, their expressions unreadable. Kather's blade-like arms glinted in the light. Riss's four eyes studied every detail of Eli's face. "Tell us what you did," Kather said, his voice sharp. "You're not strong enough to scare the beast. No human is." Riss added quietly, "Unless the beast saw something very old in you, something older than this academy, something dangerous." Eli looked at them and said nothing for a long moment. Then he simply replied, "I did nothing. Maybe it just liked me." Kather slammed one bladed arm into the table hard enough to leave a deep cut. "Beasts do not like. They fight or they kill. They never bow." Riss leaned closer, his voice low. "I looked into its eyes and I saw fear. Not of your weapons, not of your strength. Fear of you." The room fell silent for a moment as nearby students listened. Eli stood and walked away without another word, leaving the table behind, his steps calm, but inside his mind questions burned. The beast should not have acted like that. He had felt its mind brush against his, not with words, but with something older, something like memory, and it had known him, or something like him. That night the Academy's main corridors were quiet. The stars outside the viewing windows glowed cold and far away. Eli lay on his bed staring at the ceiling, the soft hum of the ship steady in the background. His alien roommate, a small scaled creature named Trev, was already asleep, curled under a heat lamp. The air felt still until a faint vibration passed through the floor. Then another, heavier, Closer. Eli sat up, listening. The sound was not part of the ship's normal rhythm. A shadow moved outside his door. Then the door slid open without a chime, filling the room with the scent of warm fur and something wild. The beast stepped inside, its golden eyes glowing in the dim light, its head low so it could pass through the doorway. Trev woke with a sudden hiss and scrambled back, pressing the alarm button. Red light began to flash. A siren wailed, but the beast ignored all of it. It looked at Eli, then sat down beside his bed, its tail wrapping around the floor. Security arrived in seconds, 4 armed guards in black armor, their weapons charged. The leaders shouted for Eli to move away, but the beast turned its head and let out a deep growl, the sound so low the floor seemed to tremble. The guards froze, their fingers tight on their triggers. Eli raised a hand, his voice calm. "It is fine. It will not hurt anyone." The guards looked at each other in disbelief. One spoke into a comm device, requesting the academy director immediately. The director, a tall and stern alien with skin like dark stone, arrived within minutes, his eyes hard as he took in the scene. The beast beside the human, the guards holding back, the alarm still ringing. He ordered the alarm silenced, then looked at Eli. "You are coming with me right now." Eli stood and followed without protest. The beast rose and padded after them, ignoring the guards. They walked through empty halls until they reached the director's private chamber. The door closed behind them. The director turned, his voice cold. "This is not normal. You will tell me exactly what happened in the trial, what you did to the beast." Eli's answer was quiet. "I did nothing. It just decided I was not an enemy." The director's eyes narrowed. "No beast decides that, especially not one built to be the image of fear itself." Eli hesitated, then added, "Maybe it saw something that made it think I was like it." The director frowned, his stone-like skin shifting slightly. "That is impossible. You are human, weak, short-lived, from a young world. Nothing about you is like it." Eli met his gaze. Something about his calmness made the director's voice falter. Before the director could speak again, a voice filled Eli's mind. Not a sound, but a thought, deep and echoing like a mountain cave. "I know what you are." The words were not from the director. They came from the beast. Its golden eyes locked on Eli. "They will fear you." Eli did not answer, not out loud, not in his mind, but something inside him shifted, a small weight settling in place. The director noticed the strange stillness between the human and the beast, his voice uneasy now. "Tomorrow the council will hear of this. They will decide what to do with you." And with it, the beast's tail twitched, its gaze still fixed on Eli. And in that moment he knew the whispers in the hall were only the beginning. Something much larger had begun, and the galaxy might not be ready for what came next. The corridors of the academy were quiet except for the soft hum of the great engines. Outside the viewing glass, the stars drifted past like cold sparks on black water. Eli walked between 2 guards in dark armor. The beast padded behind him with slow, heavy steps, its golden eyes bright in the dim light. The director walked ahead without looking back, his stone-like shoulders stiff, every movement sharp with suspicion. They reached the human dormitory. The guard stopped at the door. The director spoke without turning. "Stay in your room. Security will monitor you through the night. The beast will be kept under watch in its containment field." Eli nodded once, stepped inside, the door sliding shut behind him with a hiss of air. Inside the room the light was low. His small-scaled roommate Trev sat curled under his heat lamp again, watching Eli with wide eyes. "You should not have let it follow you." Trev hissed softly. "They will think you have power over it, and that is dangerous." Eli only sat on his bed, leaning back against the wall, his gaze distant. Hours passed. The hum of the ship stayed steady. Trev's breathing slowed as he drifted into sleep. Eli lay still, eyes half closed, yet part of him remained awake, listening. Then it came again, the faint vibration through the floor, soft at first, then stronger, a rhythm like slow thunder. His eyes opened fully. He sat up. The shadows in the room seemed to shift as the sound grew nearer. The door slid open without the chime. Air flowed in carrying a warm, musky scent. The beast stepped through, its head low, its fur brushing the top of the doorway. Golden eyes locked on Eli. Trev woke with a startled hiss, scrambling backward, his claws clicking on the floor. He slammed his hand against the alarm panel. Red light filled the room. A deep siren wailed through the hall. The beast ignored it, its massive form moving with quiet precision. Each paw silent despite its size. It came to Eli's bed and sat down, its tail curling neatly around. The great head lowered until it was level with his chest, the breath from its nose warm against his hands. Eli did not move away. The door burst open, for guards rushed in, weapons raised. The leader shouted for Eli to move aside, but the beast let out a sound so deep the floor seemed to shake. The guards froze, the weapons in their hands trembling slightly. Trev pressed himself against the far wall, his scales darkening in fear. Eli looked at the guards and said in a calm voice, "It will not harm me. Lower your weapons." The leader hesitated, glancing at the director who had just arrived. The director's eyes narrowed as he took in the scene. The alarm cut off at his order. Silence rushed back into the room. "Come with me," the director said, his tone hard. Eli stood. The beast rose with him, its head brushing the ceiling. The director led them down an empty corridor. The lights dimmed for night cycle, shadows pooling in the corners. They stopped at the director's private chamber, the heavy door sliding shut behind them. The director turned, his stone skin catching the faint light. "This cannot continue. You will tell me now. What is your link to it?" Eli met his eyes. "I told you. I did nothing. The beast chooses to be near me." The director shook his head slowly. "Beasts do not choose. They obey instinct. Yet it protects you. It follows you. It refuses to fight you." Before Eli could reply, the beast's golden eyes locked on his, and once more the voice filled his mind. Deep and ancient, "I know you. Not from this life. From the echo before." Eli felt the weight of the words press into his thoughts. Images flickered across his mind. Shadows of a burning sky. Shapes like the beast but taller, armed with teeth and flame, and humans standing before them unbroken. The beast's thought was calm yet heavy. "They will fear you. They will try to bind you. But you are not bound. You are what the first ones called the fearless." Eli kept his face, still though inside his chest something tightened. The director watched him closely, as if sensing there was a silent exchange he could not hear. The director finally spoke again. "Tomorrow the council will see you both. They will decide if you are allowed to remain, or if you will be removed from this academy, perhaps even from this system." Eli asked, "And the beast?" The director's voice grew colder. "The beast will be returned to the deep vault where no one can reach it." The beast shifted, its claws scraping the floor softly. Eli could feel its anger like heat in the air. The voice came again. "I will not return to the vault. Not while the shadows gather." Eli thought the words rather than spoke them. What shadows? The beast's mind voice deepened. "Those that feed on the heart's weakness. They are moving through the dark, and they will come here." The director seemed uneasy now, as if he could feel the tension, but not its cause. He opened the door and ordered Eli back to his quarters under guard. The beast was forced to follow 2 security drones toward containment, its head low, but its eyes still on the human. Back in his room, Eli lay awake long into the night cycle. Trev avoided speaking to him, curling under his lamp and pretending to sleep. Eli stared at the ceiling, replaying the images the beast had placed in his mind. The burning sky, the shapes in the fire, the unbroken humans, the word fearless echoing in the dark. Outside in the secure hangar, the beast lay inside the containment field, the blue shimmer of energy wrapped around it. Monitors watched its brain patterns, showing strange waves unlike anything in the archives. The beast ignored the field, its gaze turned toward the walls as if it could see beyond them, toward the human sleeping far above. In the morning cycle, the academy was alive with whispers again. The story of the beast entering the humans' quarters had already spread. Some said Eli had called it somehow. Others said it had broken free because of a shared mind link. Alien students watched him in the corridors, some curious, others wary, a few openly hostile. Cather muttered to Riss that the council would end this quickly. Riss only replied that maybe the council was already too late. Eli was taken from class before the morning meal, escorted by guards toward the council transport shuttle. The beast was already there, standing calmly beside its handlers. The moment it saw Eli, its tail moved in a slow curve, its head dipping slightly. The handlers tensed. The director gave a sharp order to board. As the shuttle lifted away from the academy, the stars shifted in the viewing ports. The council station, a distant silver ring against the void. The beast's mind touched Eli's again, without warning. The shadows are closer now. They will test you before the council does. Eli sat in silence, feeling the quiet weight of those words. The hum of the shuttle filled the air. Outside, the stars kept their cold watch, and somewhere beyond them something unseen began to move toward them all. The shuttle glided through the emptiness of space, its engines whispering against the silence. Ahead, the council station grew larger, a silver ring turning slowly in the dark, its lights bright against the endless night. Eli sat between two guards. The beast crouched at the far end of the cabin, golden eyes half closed but watching everything. The director stood near the controls, speaking quietly to the pilot in a language Eli did not know. The beast's mind touched his again, a deep low voice without sound. They will try to measure you. They will not understand what they find. Eli thought back. Why me? The beast's reply came slow. Because you have no fear they can taste, and that will frighten them more than any weapon. The shuttle docked with a soft shudder. The airlock opened. Warm light poured into the cabin. Beyond the doorway stood council guards in armor of gold and black, their faces hidden behind mirrored visors. They moved with perfect precision, their weapons hanging at their sides, yet ready in an instant. Eli was led forward, the beast following under heavy watch, a dozen guards surrounding it with energy spears humming in the air. They passed through wide halls lined with banners from countless worlds, the floor polished to a mirror shine. Alien figures watched from balconies above, some leaning close to whisper, others turning away, as if not wishing to see. At the end of the hall, a great door opened, revealing the council chamber, a vast circle lit from above by a ring of pale light. The councilors sat on high seats, each from a different world, their eyes fixed on the human and the beast. The director stepped forward, his voice formal. Honorable council, I bring before you the human Eli and the fear beast from the academy. During the trial, the beast refused to engage the human. It instead bowed and showed submission. The council murmured among themselves, the sound a low ripple across the chamber. One counselor, tall and draped in silver, spoke. Such behavior is without precedent. We demand to know why. Eli stood in the center, the beast beside him. He felt the weight of their gazes, like cold hands pressing against his skin. One counselor with skin like molten metal leaned forward. Human, what did the beast see in your mind? Eli took a breath, his voice steady. It saw me. Nothing more. Another counselor hissed. Beasts of fear do not bow to nothing. They bow to what they cannot overcome. Tell us the truth. The beast let out a low growl, the sound echoing up to the highest seats, its golden eyes glowing brighter. In Eli's mind the voice returned. Show them. Eli felt a pulse of thought, and then the images rose again. The burning skies, the humans standing in the fire, the shapes of war and the beasts that fought them. The counselors shifted in their seats, some frowning, some leaning back as if uneasy. One spoke sharply. What is this? These visions are not of our archives. The beast turned its head toward the speaker, its mind voice spilling into the chamber so strongly that even those without telepathy felt it like a pressure in the air. These are the memories of the First War, when my kind served those who could not be broken, humans. The words seemed to thrum in the air. Several counselors looked at each other with new expressions. The molten metal counselor narrowed his eyes. If this is true, then the human is dangerous. Fearless beings are unpredictable. We must consider containment. Another counselor with skin of deep green shook her head. Or perhaps we consider alliance. If such beings once fought alongside the beasts and won, they may be needed again. The chamber filled with tense voices, some calling for Eli to be removed from the academy, others speaking of his potential use. Above it all, the beast spoke again. You waste time. Shadows are moving toward your borders. They feed on fear. They will break you unless you stand with those who do not bend. The council quieted. The silver-draped leader leaned forward. What shadows? The beast's tail twitched. Hunters from beyond your maps. They drink fear like blood. They leave only silence behind. My kind was made to fight them, but we fall when our leaders break inside. This one will not break. The leader's gaze turned to Eli. And you? Will you fight these shadows? Eli's answer came without hesitation, yes. The molten metal counselor stood, his voice sharp. This is not for the human to decide. He is a risk. If the shadows are real, they may even come for him first. We cannot allow that. I move for immediate containment. Energy fields locked. Transport to the Black Vault. Several voices rose in agreement. Others shouted in protest. The Silver Leader raised a hand for silence. Before the leader could speak, the molten metal counselor gave a subtle signal. Guards moved toward Eli and the beast. Energy spears glowing brighter. The beast's ears flattened. A deep growl building in its chest. Eli felt the heat of it through the air. The voice in his mind calm and certain. Now we see who they truly are. One guard stepped too close. The beast moved with sudden speed. Chains clattering as it snapped them apart. The sound like shattering glass. The guards leapt back, weapons raised. Energy flared. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Voices shouting. Orders clashing. The Silver Leader called for restraint, but no one listened. The beast planted itself between Eli and the nearest guard. Its golden eyes blazing. The air around it almost vibrating with power. Eli stood close to its side. His heart steady. The beast's mind touched his again. You choose now. Do we stay and bow, or do we walk out? Eli thought back. We walk. The beast lunged toward the far wall, its claws tearing into the metal like soft clay. Guards tried to block them, but the beast's roar shook the chamber, knocking several from their feet. Eli followed in its wake, the counselors shouting above, some calling for capture, others for aid. They broke through into a side corridor, alarms already wailing, more guards closing in. The beast smashed through a bulkhead. Beyond it, the cold air of an outer hangar washed over them. Ships sat in their cradles. A few small craft unguarded in the confusion. The beast slowed enough for Eli to climb onto its back, the golden eyes flicking toward the largest open hatch. Behind them, the Silver Leader appeared in the doorway, his voice carrying across the hangar. Human, if you leave now, you will be hunted. But if you stay, you will be questioned. Choose carefully. Eli met his gaze, the beast already moving toward the open hatch, his answer carried back across the hangar. Then hunt me. The beast leapt through the hatch into the darkness beyond, the cold starlight flashing across its fur, the hangar's gravity falling away as they soared into the void, alarms still echoing in the distance. Eli gripped the thick fur along its neck, the beast's mind voice steady in his thoughts. Now we begin. The cold of open space wrapped around them as the beast leapt clear of the station, its massive body twisting in the low gravity, claws catching the edge of a small docked skiff. Eli held tight to its thick fur. The metal groaned under their combined weight. Lights along the dock flashed red as security alarms howled across the comm channels. Behind them, the great ring of the council station turned slowly, dozens of patrol craft detaching like metal insects. The beast landed on the deck of the skiff, its golden eyes scanning the controls through the open hatch. It crouched low to let Eli slide inside. The cabin smelled of oil and dust. A small control chair sat before a cracked display. Eli moved quickly, fingers finding switches and levers. The skiff hummed to life, thrusters warming. Outside, the patrol craft were already fanning out, their engines bright against the dark. The beast's mind touched his again, calm despite the chaos. They will try to disable us, not destroy us. They want you alive. Eli's hands worked across the controls. Then let's make sure they cannot touch us. The skiff jerked free from the dock, spinning away from the station. The nearest patrol craft turned sharply, beams of pale light slicing through the void where the skiff had been a moment before. Eli pulled hard on the throttle. The engines roared, pressing him back into the seat. The beast wedged itself into the rear compartment, its tail wrapping around a storage crate. The golden eyes fixed on the display showing the station growing smaller. Eli guided the skiff into the shadow of a drifting cargo hauler, its massive hull blotting out the light of the stars. The patrol craft swept past on the other side, scanners searching for the smaller vessel. The beast's voice came again. They will find us soon. The shadows are already moving. Eli asked in thought, what are these shadows? The beast's reply was heavy. Things that live where light does not reach. They drink the fear of those they find. They grow stronger with each world they touch. My kind was made to hunt them, but alone we fall. Eli's jaw tightened. Then we are not going to be alone. The cargo hauler shadow carried them deeper into the debris field left from an old battle. Shattered ships drifted here, some broken in half, others pitted with holes from energy blasts. The skiff wove through them, the wrecks turning slowly in the thin gravity. A broken cruiser drifted ahead, its hull torn open. Beyond it the field ended in clear space, but several patrol craft were waiting there, their weapons already charged. The beast shifted behind him, its fur bristling, its voice a sharp thread in his mind. They will block every exit. You must go where they cannot follow. Eli scanned the field, his gaze caught on a cluster of sharp rocks spinning slowly near the edge. Between them a faint shimmer flickered, almost invisible against the black. What is that? The beast's voice grew low. An old passage, unstable, dangerous. The patrol craft will not risk it. Then that is where we are going, Eli replied without hesitation. The skiff angled toward the rocks, the shimmer growing brighter, like a thin skin of light stretched across nothing. The patrol craft saw the change and broke formation, their comm signals sharp with orders Eli ignored. Beams of energy fired toward them. One clipped the edge of the skiff, sending sparks across the controls. Eli gritted his teeth. Holding the throttle open, the shimmer filled the viewport, the rocks spinning dangerously close. With a rush of light they broke through, the patrol craft vanishing behind them. The space beyond was dark and heavy. No stars visible, only swirling clouds of faint color moving like slow water. The beast let out a sound almost like a sigh. They will not follow, but we are not safe. Eli's eyes scanned the strange void. What is this place? The beast replied. A hollow between paths. The old ones used it to hide from the shadows, but it is not empty. A faint movement flickered in the distance, like a ripple across water. Then another. Shapes too large to be ships slid through the colored mist. Eli's grip tightened on the controls. The beast's golden eyes narrowed. They have found us sooner than I thought. The mist shifted again, revealing something vast and black, its surface smooth yet alive, with faint pulses of red, a shape without edges, its form changing as it moved. Eli felt a pressure against his mind, cold and searching. The beast growled low. They're trying to taste your fear. Do not let them. Eli closed his eyes for a heartbeat, breathing slow. When he opened them again, his mind was steady. The pressure faded. The black shape shifted away. The beast's voice carried a note of approval. They cannot drink from you. That will make them hunt you harder. The skiff moved deeper into the hollow, the mist curling around them. Small lights flickered ahead. At first Eli thought they were stars, but as they drew closer the lights became eyes. Dozens of them, each set into the head of a beast like the one behind him, only smaller, sleeker, their fur dark and their movements swift. They surrounded the skiff in silence. The beast behind him stood, its head nearly touching the ceiling, a deep sound rolling from its chest. One of the smaller beasts leapt onto the skiff's hull, its golden eyes meeting Eli's through the viewport. The voice that entered his mind was not the same as his companions. This one was sharper, colder. You bring the fearless here. Why? Eli's companion answered before he could. Because the shadows are moving, and we cannot fight them alone. The smaller beast's gaze flicked to Eli, then back to the larger one. This human carries no fear scent. He is true. The pack will hear. The smaller beasts melted back into the mist, their shapes vanishing into the swirling colors. Eli looked at his companion. What just happened? The beast's voice was steady. We now have allies, for a time. The skiff continued forward, guided by the shifting lights. The mist began to thin, revealing the faint glow of distant stars ahead. The beast lowered itself again, its golden eyes fixed on Eli. The shadows will come for the academy first. They will break the council worlds if they take it. Eli nodded. Then we go back. The beast's tail curled around the floor, the voice in his mind calm and certain. We will go back, but not as we left. Behind them in the mist the black shapes moved again, patient and silent, their faint red pulses growing brighter. Eli kept his eyes forward, the thought settling in his mind like a blade being sheathed. Whatever waited ahead in the light would have to face them both, and they would not break. The stars returned like cold fire as the skiff slipped out of the hollow, the pack of smaller beasts fanning around them in silent formation, their dark fur blending with the emptiness. Eli gripped the controls tight, eyes scanning the void ahead. Somewhere beyond lay the academy, and if the beast was right, the shadows would already be moving to strike. The thought sat heavy in his chest, a weight that tightened with each passing breath. The beast's voice filled his mind, low and steady. You will need to speak for them when we arrive. They do not trust my kind. Eli glanced over his shoulder at the massive form crouched behind him. And yet you trust me. The golden eyes held his gaze. Trust is not given. It is earned. And you have not broken. The skiff scanners began to hum, a faint pattern flickering across the cracked display. Shapes moving ahead, not ships, not asteroids, but drifting fragments of something vast, their surfaces smooth and glistening as if carved from shadow itself. Eli slowed their approach. The pack spread wider, moving like dark arrows between the debris. One of the smaller beasts leapt across a fragment, its claws scraping a line of silver into the black surface. The silver glow spread like a slow infection. The fragment trembled, then began to crumble into dust that vanished into the dark. Eli shivered. What are these? The beast's reply came sharp. The skin they shed when they passed through worlds. The more of it you see, the closer they are. Eli pushed the throttle forward, speed building again. Every moment now felt like a countdown. The stars ahead shifted slightly. A faint shimmer like heat rising from metal. The beast's tail twitched. They are closing the path. We must strike through before it seals. The pack surged ahead, each smaller beast darting through the shimmer without slowing. Eli aimed the skiff directly for the gap. The shimmer rippled as they touched it. A wave of cold rushed through the cabin, his breath turning white in the air. On the other side, the view snapped into chaos. The Academy's massive training ring spun in the distance, but around them swarmed black shapes like living storms, their forms twisting and stretching, edges bleeding into nothing, flashes of red pulsed. Deep inside them like heartbeats. The beast's voice was harder now. You see them as they are. They will try to blind you. Eli's vision blurred for an instant, as if the space before him had gone flat. He shook his head, focus returning. The skiff dived low toward the Academy's outer defense line. Automated turrets spat streams of light into the dark, most shots passing harmlessly through the black shapes, others striking and burning away chunks that healed in seconds. One of the smaller beasts slammed into a shadow shape, claws tearing deep. The thing shuddered, its form collapsing into mist before vanishing entirely. The beast landed back on the hull of the skiff, fur bristling, eyes burning bright. Eli could feel the fight thrumming through the air. The Academy's comms crackled to life, a sharp voice barking. Unidentified craft, you are entering a restricted battle zone. Identify immediately or be destroyed. Eli keyed the transmitter. This is Eli Varick. I have critical intelligence on the enemy. Stand down your guns. The reply came cold. Your file lists you as missing, presumed dead. Prove your claim. Before he could answer, the beast rose behind him, its golden eyes catching the light. Another voice entered the comms, low and deep. They speak truth. Without them you will fall. There was a long pause. Then the turret ceased fire. A new voice came through, heavy with disbelief. Bring them in. The skiff swept under the spinning rings, docking clamps reaching out. The pack of smaller beasts landed along the dock with eerie grace. Station crews froze at the sight, some backing away, others reaching for weapons until officers barked them down. Eli stepped out first, the cold air of the dock biting his skin. The beast followed, its size filling the space. The pack fanned out behind it like silent shadows. An officer strode forward, silver stripes on her dark uniform, eyes sharp. You have 30 seconds to explain why you brought predators into our walls. Eli met her stare. Because what is coming will kill everything you know, and they are the only ones who can stop it. They moved quickly through the station's corridors, the beast walking close behind. The crew stared, whispers rising. The officer led them into a wide chamber lined with holographic displays of the battle outside. The black shapes pressed harder against the defense line, red pulses growing brighter. Eli pointed to the largest of the shapes. That is their core. If it reaches the heart of the station, it will tear through your defenses in minutes. The beast's voice joined his. My kind can wound them, but not destroy them alone. We need the station's power. The officer's jaw tightened. You are asking us to trust you without proof. Eli stepped closer. You already have proof. Look outside. Every second you wait, they grow stronger. The lights in the chamber flickered. The displays wavered. A cold wave passed through the air. The beasts first stood on end. They are inside. The officer barked orders into her comm. Security to all corridors. Seal every hatch. But before the words had finished, the first scream came from the hall outside. A shadow shape slid under the door as if the metal was water, its form twisting, red light pulsing within. The pack leapt forward as one, claws tearing into the thing, its body shrieking without sound. Eli grabbed a fallen guard's weapon, firing into the red pulse. The shadow convulsed and then burst into a mist that vanished into nothing. The officer stared, her voice low. "If they can come through walls, nowhere is safe." The beast turned to her. "Then fight with us now, or lose everything." She nodded sharply, activating a command channel. "All units fall back to core chamber. Concentrate fire on the largest mass. Deploy power relay to docking bay." The beast's golden eyes met Eli's. "This is where the path turns." They moved back toward the docking bay. The corridors lit with flashing red. Shadows poured from the walls and ceiling. The pack fought like a single living weapon, each movement precise and deadly. Eli stayed close to the beast, firing when he could. The cold pressure in his mind returned, stronger now, whispering images of failure, of loss. He forced the thoughts away, breathing hard. The docking bay loomed ahead. Station crews had already dragged heavy cables toward the skiff, linking its systems to the station's power core. The beast moved to the center of the bay, lowering its head, claws digging into the deck. Eli could feel energy gathering around it. The pack spread in a wide circle, holding the shadows back. The largest black shape outside drew closer, its red pulses like a heartbeat shaking the walls. The beast's voice roared in Eli's mind. "Now!" Eli hit the controls. Power from the station surged into the beast, its golden eyes blazing. A shockwave burst from its body, tearing through the bay doors into space, slamming into the black shape. The red pulses flared, the form twisting violently. The beast let out a sound like a great bell tolling, the shockwave growing stronger. The black shape began to collapse inward, its surface folding in on itself until it was gone, only empty space remaining. The station crew stood frozen, silence heavy after the roar. The battle outside the alien Academy ship Virith raged like fire in the dark sea of space. The great enemy fleet poured out from the shadow of a broken moon, their ships black, like knives, cutting the stars their weapons, hammering the shields, until the hulls of the outer decks began to split open. The sounds of metal screaming filled every corridor. Students and guards ran, as one carrying weapons and fear in equal measure. In the training hall the great cage still stood, but its glow was gone. The beast no longer bound, its golden eyes burning with a light no one had seen before. The teacher stood frozen, his glass-like skin now cracked from the force of the alarms. The students stared, not knowing if they should run or kneel. Eli stood beside the beast, his hand on its thick fur, his voice low but steady, as if speaking to a trusted friend. The beast's ears twitched. It rose slowly until it towered over all the students, its breath heavy, its gaze locked on the trembling walls, as if it could see through them into the cold void beyond. A deep voice rolled out, not from a mouth, but from the air itself, the beast's voice echoing inside the minds of all who could hear. "You have freed me. Now I will choose." Eli looked into those burning eyes and said, "Then help us, or there will be nothing left to free." The beast's great head dipped once, a sign of promise. Then it turned, and the hall shook under its steps. The door split open under a single push. The corridors lit with red alarms and flickers of battle light as soldiers fired on invading drones. The beast moved like shadow and fire, swallowing the machines in its path, claws tearing through steel bodies like they were paper. Each strike was faster than sight. The enemy ranks broke as the thing they had feared in legend now hunted them in truth. The students followed behind, some still unsure, others now roaring with courage. One insect warrior swung its blade arms in rhythm with the beast's strikes. A scaled fighter leaped from the walls to crush drones with its tail. The teacher, who once doubted Eli, now fired his energy staff. Beside him, every blast a shield for the human. Eli moved through the chaos, unarmed yet untouched, the beast never letting harm near him. The air thick with the smell of burning metal and the sound of shattering armor. The enemy forces tried to regroup, but the beast was faster. It leaped through the hull into the void, and every mind on the ship felt its roar. It tore through the nearest enemy vessel, ripping open decks like peeling fruit, the pieces drifting into the starry dark. The enemy began to flee, some ships turning hard and vanishing into jump space. The beast landed back on the Virith, with the silence of falling ash, its body steaming from the cold of space. Yet its eyes, still bright. Eli stepped forward, placing a hand on its muzzle and saying, "It is done." But the beast shook its head, a low growl rolling out, "Not yet. There is one who commands them." The teacher's communicator crackled, a voice from the command bridge, reporting that the enemy flagship was still there, waiting, holding back, as if searching for something. Eli felt the truth before anyone spoke. "They are waiting for me." The beast's head lowered again, a space for him to climb. Without fear, Eli mounted the great creature, the fur warm even in the cold wind of the open deck. The beast leapt into the void, heading straight for the flagship. Every student and crew member watching from the broken hull windows. The enemy fired, but the beast wove through the blasts, its movements a dance of shadow and gold. It struck the flagship's shields and passed through them as if they were smoke, landing on the wide deck. Before the command chamber, the door split open, and the enemy leader stepped out, tall in black armor, his eyes sharp and empty. "So you are the human," he said, his voice like ice and water. "You took my weapon and made it your pet." Eli's voice was calm. "It was never your weapon." The beast's roar shook the metal around them. The leader drew a blade glowing red with heat. He lunged, but the beast met him in a blur, claws locking with the blade, sparks flying. Eli stepped down, walking through the fight untouched. He reached the control pylon that held the fleet link. With a single pull, he tore out the core. The ships outside went dark, drifting without command. The leader staggered as the beast forced him down. The golden eyes never blinking. Eli spoke to him quietly. "You came here to break us, but you forgot something. Fear works both ways, and now you will carry it." The beast leaned close, its breath hot and heavy on the leader's face, then turned away, letting him live, but leaving him on his knees in the cold deck. The enemy fleet scattered. Without their center, the battle was done. They returned to the Virith, the beast landing soft on the ruined deck. The students cheered, some falling to their knees, others lifting their weapons high. The teacher stood before Eli, his cracked skin glowing faintly with pride. "You have done what none of us could," he said, "and you did it without fear." Eli looked at the beast and smiled, "Maybe with a little fear, but not for me." Days passed. The ship was repaired. The students returned to training, but none forgot the day the beast bowed to a human. Whispers spread to other worlds. Some called Eli a hero, others called him dangerous. The beast stayed near the training hall, never again entering the cage, but always watching, as if guarding its new home. One night Eli stood on the deck alone, the stars bright around him. The beast walked up, silent, its eyes softer. Now, Eli asked, "Why did you bow that day?" The beast's answer came like a quiet tide. "Because you saw me not as a monster, but as something that could choose. And in that moment I chose you." Eli nodded. No more words needed. The two stood together under the endless night, knowing that whatever came next they would face it side by side. And far away in the dark beyond the stars, the broken enemy leader sat alone, the memory of golden eyes and the sound of a human's calm voice haunting his dreams for the rest of his days.